Hey kids, you trying to get into Segment City? Well, you really shouldn't, because Segment City is a mature podcast, and listener discretion is advised. I'm just trying to look at... I know I'm in an alleyway. I know how I look, but I got some fireworks for you kids. I got snakes and I got sparklers. That's all I got. Oh, don't give me that. Well, look who it is. A guy I've seen in the last few days. And, you know, I'm sick of it. I'm sick of you.
I'm haggard, Will.
Oh, are you?
My whole personality's changed since the last time we met.
It was really a miraculous transformation. Yeah, and now?
You ever been out in the desert and you haven't had water in 2 days and you see that beautiful, what's that in the distance? It's a cactus growing. And you know there's cactus juice up in there. And the canyon, it starts calling to you.
Yeah.
Down in the canyon, the canyon calls, Will.
This is what I've been dealing with.
South Canyon calling.
He is obsessed, ladies and gentlemen, with Cactus Canyon.
That's me. I'm Cactus Coyote Kyle. Kyle is the name in the canyon. No, that ain't it.
I thought you were going to say, ask me what this is about, because you know, it's about something stupid.
I'm too punch drunk on this cactus juice to do anything about it.
Okay, well, I'm going to now explain what Cactus Canyon is. Theo and I went to a barcade this weekend, which was lovely, where they had various arcade games and a bunch of pinball games of various different themes. You know, there's a Star Trek, there's an X-Men. There was a Johnny Mnemonic one that we did, could have been the bit. But we've never seen John and Mnemonic, so really...
we couldn't make any goofs of gas because we couldn't make any goofs.
Yes. And so we laser focused. We passed a machine called Cactus Canyon. We
stood directly next to the John Wick pinball machine and said, no, it's time for Cactus Canyon, baby.
Because our friend was like, oh, I heard about that they had a John Wick one here. And it was notable because it had characters from John Wick 4. So I'm like, wow, this is a modern-ass pinball machine. But next to that was a generic pinball machine that was Wild West themed. It was Cactus Canyon, and we were joking about it.
It's not a costume for you, William. How dare you?
See this lasso? This is handed down from my old grandpappy. See that donkey over there? That's part of the culture. Gotta love that donkey.
That's an heirloom donkey. That was my great-great-granddaddy's donkey. That donkey's 140 years old.
Aged to perfection. But Cactus Canyon did look a little aged, but we joked because we were like, this is so dumb, it's so generic. And then I think that's why you started laser focusing on it. And then you were like, I was like, it was a snap. It was like immediately you were like,
I got in the canyon zone.
Oh yeah, get me, because once you got that first hit of playing it, and it started doing the train, and it was doing like Haunted Mine was going down.
Where if you hit the ball directly up this chute, and it slides around in a 90-degree arc, and then it slides down around past this little train. And every time you get it on that route, it says train 1, and then the next time you do it, train 2, train 3. And I was on the train 6, train 7, and I was rolling. And every time you get it past, the train moves a little bit. And I gotta know what happens when you get the train to the end of the track. What happens, Will?
The train's never gonna get to the end of the track, Theo. That's the trick of
this game. I'm not good enough in this game, no.
You're the eyes of the sheriff on the cover of it is going to be haunting you for the rest of your life.
I said this, that I don't play pinball basically ever, but I really like it because it's that sweet dopamine hit. Flashing lights, loud noises, and numbers going up. That's just like, it's triggering all of the things you like.
It's a good, it's hardware and software combined. And Theo, I feel like we found the answer to a long question that we've had of what is the male equivalent of horse girls? I'm going to posit pinball guys.
Pinball guy.
They're more low key. I think we guys on average are weirder, and so I feel like that makes it so it's like the the bell curve is a little bit like off compared. So I think there's a smaller percentage of ultra weird pinball guys. Yeah, but it's a similar kind of vibe.
I would imagine that the pinball guys hide their love of pinball under a bushel because there's no such thing as a pinball girl. They don't exist. They don't exist.
You're not going to find your pinball girl.
No, they don't exist. And there's no reason why they couldn't exist. It's just for some reason men become
No. This is
magnetized towards the pinball machine.
It's because the song is Pinball Wizard. It's not Pinball Couple, not happy man in a relationship. It's Pinball Wizard. You must not feel the touch of a woman on your flesh. Or I don't know. You must only feel the tip-taps of the paddles.
I don't know what it's called when there's like the 3 bumpers in a triangle and the ball gets in there and it starts binging around. But I always start calling it, it's in the torture chamber. It's in the torture chamber. I was screaming that in the arcade.
It was so funny. The 0 to 100 that we were like, pinball machines, this is dumb too. Whoa, love it. Get them in the torture chamber.
Yeah, it is a fun game.
Oh, and then also Cactus County had a fun little thing where do a little showdown where it would halt
the ball. It would halt the ball, and then it would show a little animation. It's zooming in on the outlaw's eyes, and he was shifting his eyes, and his hand was going for his gun, and it said ready, set, draw, and then it released the ball, and you had to wham it,
boom, and then you just continue playing pinball. You don't kill the guy, but
it's pretty exciting. It's a good,
very
thematic
exciting
moment.
I enjoyed the game. Sometimes the pinball machines can be weirdly esoteric because I played the X-Men one, and they would have you like choose a mission every once in a while. I'm like, is this affecting the game, or am I getting more points if I complete? I don't know what I'm doing. We're having fun. The lights are glowing. Where the ball is bouncing.
I think part of the appeal of Cactus Canyon was that you could pretty much take it at face value. There wasn't a lot of depth there.
Yeah, that was the fun of it.
Previously, I played the Jurassic Park pinball machine, and it had a screen, and it was trying to show me like Isla Nublar, and it was like, you're taking this route. Select like this other way, and I was like, I don't know how to interact with any of that. All I'm doing is bonking a ball all around when it comes near me. Like, I don't know how to play the game that you're asking me to play. You can't. But Cactus Canyon is like, yeehaw, motherfucker! Shoot your guns and hit the ball!
Yeah, you can't really add complex. Like, you're not going to have a Mass Effect pinball machine where you're doing complex, like, going around the ship talking to people. It pauses
the ball, and it's like, all right, and it's now time to deeply emotionally connect with one of your crewmates. All right, now keep playing pinball.
Garrus, what do you think? He's like, boop, boop, boop. No. Oh man, I hit the wrong option. Fuck. No. No, he hates me. I'm not going to be able to do the romance.
You have to get it in the right sequence to be able to see the romance scenes. Oh, that would be the worst.
Well, in Segment City, pinball machines are the hobby of at least 50% of the people. I got to say, I hear people above me, people below me in my apartment building just tip-tapping on those pinball machines. My name is Will Kane, and I'm a pinball warlock. It's a little bit different from a pinball wizard. I made a deal with a pinball demon.
And I'm Theo Zapakos, and get ready to draw, warlock. Pinball cowboys on the scene.
And this is a podcast in which Theo and I, we dumpster dive our way through the internet. We get those good comedy morsels from all your favorite websites, Wikipedia or Amazon, and we package them into segments for you. But we're going to start with a Will's Stupid Thought. There is very likely someone out there who is employed, but does literally nothing all day.
I feel like those people definitely exist.
100%. I mean, there's an entire book called Bullshit Jobs that Annie has read and she's recommended to me, which I might eventually. But that's more about like the structure of how work works in the modern age, of like the work that individual people are doing doesn't necessarily have any generative value. You know what I mean? Like that's where and then also like it goes more into the depth, but there are some people who probably just, it doesn't even have that. It's just like, they just don't do anything via nepotism. I thought of that as a way of like, you just get a title. You're the VP of process engineering. There's no actual people in that wing or whatever. You get a paycheck.
There's that whole thing in Silicon Valley where one of the guys, like, he has a great idea, and so they have to keep him at the company because it would look bad if he was fired, but he's actually an idiot. So he doesn't get fired, but he's expected to show up at work every day. So what does he do? He goes and hangs out on the roof, and there's a bunch of other people that just hang out on the roof, and that's what they do at work.
They get trapped on the roof like it's hackers. Hey, do you guys know about the pool on the roof? What? Oh, the door locked.
Exactly right.
I have heard in Japanese companies that they do a similar thing of not wanting to fire a person, so they just don't give them any more work, and they go, "Okay, you just gonna sit there all day? Are you gonna let your mind rot, or are you gonna quit?" Like that's instead of firing them.
I thought part of that also was that some of those salaries are paid by the government, and the government doesn't want to boost unemployment, and so they'd rather keep the people employed than like cause unemployment. But I don't want to say that as a definite fact. That was just, I think, something that I had heard.
But I just thought about that because it was just like also another thing I've thought of, because I think I've read an article that was about somebody, and I also had a friend who was like this, that their manager got fired or left the company or something. They got a new manager. That person also left. Then they were just like, and then all their team got laid off or whatever. Like, ended up in a situation where they didn't have anybody that they were directly reporting to, and yet were still hired in this company. And then
looking around like, who else is here? Anybody?
And the person I knew just didn't do anything. Like, eventually he got scooped up by, like, they were like, oh, this guy's just on our employee sheet and he's not doing anything. Like, so let's put him on a team. And so he's like, oh, fuck, I got to actually do shit now. It's like, man.
I can't imagine going into work every day and
not doing shit.
That's unfathomable to me. I cannot imagine doing nothing.
I've had jobs where I've done that, but it was because they just didn't offer enough work, and then it was like, okay, they also aren't literally supervising us, and I read like 8 books that summer. Like, it was a summer internship.
I just can't imagine
right out of work.
If someone isn't supervising me, my intuition is not to like not do work, because I just end up feeling so bad about myself if I don't do anything. I'm like, I'm employed, I need to do something. I guess I've been brainwashed.
Why you're a good worker, B. That's why we love you. This is why he shows up to the podcast. He did say at the beginning when we started the call, I don't need to be here. I don't need to be.
I don't get paid to be here. I'm not supervised. I'm off the clock.
But here's what you are here for: giving me segments. So let's start with your first one.
I'm on the case. And you better believe that my first stop this week was over at the takeout. And guess what they gave me? Fucking garbage, nothing. So I had to move on down into the slop trough and go over to PR Newswire like usual. Yeah. Now, Will, have you heard of Cousins Maine Lobster?
Cousins Maine Lobster. So Maine like the state, Cousins like the family relation.
Yeah. So they were like a food truck or something, and they won some competition, and so they have been expanding, but they're in the news like pretty frequently because they keep expanding and they keep getting farther from Maine. And I keep not knowing how they just opened a new restaurant in Savannah, Georgia. And I was like, how are you possibly getting the Maine lobster down to Savannah? It can't possibly be fresh anymore. Like your radius of effectiveness was like as far south as Maryland. And then I'm like, I'm very dubious after that. Sorry, dude.
For some reason, I thought when you started talking about that, you don't like it. I thought it was some Maine bias that you had of like these Maine people. Maine. But then
I like Maine.
I started thinking about it. Just I know there are cities in Maine. I know there's probably use for food trucks. But to me, Maine is comparatively very rural, very woods. Right. And so the concept of a food truck by itself is kind of funny to me.
Driving around like, anybody, please.
Second layer of funny is lobster food truck. Because food trucks are supposed to be for the people, and lobster is not a food of the people.
It's not for the people, no.
And then going to your point of that's perishable, baby. That's going to go bad. It's very perishable. So you're in Savannah, Georgia. They probably get lobsters from Savannah, Georgia, but it's probably not. Or they like somehow transport it.
They probably do, but like
they're not driving up and down.
It's an odd duck. So I basically was like, all right, Cousins of Maine Lobster, you're getting put on notice. All right, stop moving so far from Maine.
So you're the detective that's finally opening the investigation.
I'm dusting it off. I'm blowing the dust off of it, and I'm like, let's take another look at this. So I have one other headline for you before we get to the main event. This This was like a very confusing headline to me.
Oh,
European cheeses show their quality and versatility at the prestigious NRA fair in Chicago. Now that was confused. That was a stumper for me for a moment there, because I was like, surely not that NRA, not the one I'm thinking of.
I think you're stumbling with this because they are in a way bearing the lead, which is the more fair. Interesting story. It's going to PAX East and being like, man, they had really good pretzels there. Like, not talking about video games at all. Like, what a weird.
And it also is European cheeses, really? NRA?
And not a crowd that I think is going like, happy. Oh, a nice charcuterie board, you know?
Yes, I love a pistol and a nice salami. Yes, those are my two favorite. You got to really get your trigger finger nice and greasy so you can...
I like the cream. I could taste the age. A little nuttiness and also a little bit of lead after I fired my gun next to it.
That's right, yeah. A little bit of kickback. The smell of the gunpowder really complements the taste of the earthiness and the Gruyere.
Opens up the nasal passages allows the scent to really get in there.
Now, unfortunately, the NRA, I did have to open this. It is the National Restaurant Association, and I encourage you, National Restaurant Association. Maybe you switch gears. Maybe now instead you're the National Association of Restaurants, because you really need to figure that shit out, because the NRA is the one other one.
I was genuinely surprised by that. I thought we were talking about that. Good rug pull, my friend. That was a good one. You got me.
Oh, all right, that was the headline. Here's the main event. Carvel debuts the first ever soft serve dispensing billboard in New York City.
What? So it is soft a serve. Fudgy the Whale, but he's like, let me poop for you. Like, here's some soft serve.
That's where your mind went.
Okay, Carvel to me is Fudgy the Whale.
Is the
soft serve. And they're not giving. I thought they were.
Let me explain.
Listen, you said it was soft serve. If it was ice cream cake, then I would make the joke of feed off my body, my friends. Like,
but instead it was let me poop for you.
Yeah. Listen, this is not a highbrow. I know we're just talking about European cheeses.
Have you ever heard of the phrase "first thought, worst thought"? Well, maybe that should enter your.
All my thoughts are the first thought. I don't need a second thought. They're pristine the first time.
Here's the press release. Carvel is kicking off the summer season like never before with the first ever soft serve dispensing billboard, because when temps rise, only the original soft serve will do. On Wednesday, June 18th in New York City's West Village, Carvel is serving up sweet, creamy soft serve straight from a billboard, because every New Yorker knows it's not summer without Carvel, baby. Pizza wrap for life, baby.
Whoa,
New York. We got the Fudgy the Whale. He's shitting all over me, baby.
I did see something that I was like, ooh. When I was walking around my neighborhood, there's a ice cream van that said Hood ice cream, which I think is that a Northeast only. The Hood, you get a little wooden spoon, and you can. It's like the white cup. Vanilla and chocolate.
I don't know if it's a Northeast specific thing, but definitely Hood has a presence in Boston. They've got that milk.
Yeah.
By the river. Yeah.
But this is not a normal ice cream truck. It was a police van. That was a Hood outreach. So I'm like, I'm not taking that. I'm not taking that Hood ice cream.
You're not taking the cop ice cream? You're not
a
rat?
No, I'm not a rat.
Their program is called Ice Cream for Rats.
But this is ice cream for rats, because
this is ice cream for rats.
Instead of Fudgy the Whale shitting, I did think of, because a billboard to me is a big tall thing that you can't really interact with. So I imagine
this
almost
one's
like
street level though.
Yeah, but I imagine like a hand sanitizer dispenser of ice cream that you just, or it just is going down
just
like
your hand.
Or it's like going down a giant rusty pole like to get to you. It's like,
you know what I don't trust is the citizens
ice cream?
The citizens of New York City with free access to a soft serve machine. I don't trust you. I don't trust you.
No.
Here, the press release continues. Carvel has a history of innovation that began in 1934 when the brand's founder, Tom Carvel, had an ice cream truck famously break down in the middle of the blazing New York City summer heat. This was the moment when the original...
I'm sorry, everybody. I'm sorry.
This is the moment when the original soft serve was invented. So when you say you've got a history of innovation, what you really mean to say is you were a shit at taking care of your equipment, and that led to a happy accidident. That's
now,
what
when
you're
you
telling me.
say he invented soft serve, do you mean he let his ice cream get runny in the heat? And in a way, that was a happy accident.
He was taking his dog for a walk, and he saw it take a shit on the sidewalk, and he thought, now that's something.
Okay, I can't make a fun Fudgy the Whale shit joke, but you can make a dog shit joke?
No. You don't step on my corner.
It's your corner now. It's you get all the potty humor? Come on. I can't believe you.
Now Carvel is bringing that same creative and original spirit to launch this one-of-a-kind advertisement to officially kick off the summer season. For the past 91 years, enjoying Carvel's ice cream treats with friends and family has been a special or memorable part of summer for our loyal fans, and this year is no different. Who's a loyal Carvel fan? Who's doing that? Who's doing that to themselves?
It's expensive. I think of, and once again, I think
of them only in the context with ice cream cakes. Exactly right.
Yeah,
ice cream cakes.
And they're expensive.
Are they?
I feel like they are. It was something in my middle class family that was a bridge too far. Yeah, that was like.
Well, is it more expensive?
I would get a face.
Is it more expensive than just buying a cake? Because cakes are. I mean, I guess a sheet cake isn't that expensive, is it?
Yeah, we were a box. You get a box of cake mix kind of family.
Okay, and that's pretty cheap. That's pretty doable. Yeah.
It's pretty cheap.
We look forward to officially kicking off summer, or what we like to call ice cream season, in a playful way. Because after all, it's not summer without Carvel.
Now, winter is anti-ice cream season. We burn it all, and then we make it all for the summer again. It's nice.
What do you think, just to end this off, just to cap it off, they end this by referencing their loyalty program. What do you think? What do you think they call that? What do you think that they call the members of their loyalty program there at Carvel?
Carnivores? That was a tongue twister. Carvelivores.
Would you accept fudgy fanatics? Would you accept that potentially? Because that's what it is.
Here's the thing, though. I feel like that's different because that implies a fandom of Fudgy the Whale. Like, right. People who like Disney aren't Mickey fanatics. They're like Fudgy fanatics. Stupid. That's stupid.
Maybe they realize that the Fudgy brand is stronger than the Carvel brand. That they actually more people like Fudgy than like Carvel.
So much so that I'm pretty sure a lot of the different seasons are like a lot of the different like things that they say is a different mold is just the Fudgy the Whale like turned 90 degrees or whatever, and so it looks different.
I also in this, they also say here, you can sign up to be a member of Fudgy Fanatics before June 18th for free here.
Oh, so you have to pay for it?
Implying that after June 18th, you do have to pay, which is wild.
Subscription that I don't take my fat ass needs.
No, I'm not doing that.
Oh, man. Speaking of weird molds, have you ever seen the subreddit that is literally just people showing different cookie molds, like, cookie cutters.
Oh, you're trying to guess the shape.
What is this? Yeah.
What is it? What is this shape? I like that one.
It's every single time it confuses the fuck out of me until somebody does a little like drawing of what it might be with the MS Paint or whatever. Be like, this is a deer. And I'm like, oh, I guess. Like,
yeah, I saw one that was like a seal balancing a ball on its nose, and someone had to draw it. And I was like, I see it now that you said it, but that's a crazy
incomprehensible.
Town.
Yeah. You got to mark those. That's insane.
What is this? And that's what I'm going to be saying about your next segment. What is this?
Ooh, that's actually a very good, it's like an okay transition. Because we're going to do a Wikipedia historian.
Oh, do tell.
Now, Theo, have you ever heard of a ship called the Batavia?
The Batavia? No.
It's named after, you would think it was a German ship. It's not actually a German ship. It's a Dutch ship that famously had a little bit of trouble in the 17th century, and we will be getting into that now.
Is this a sister ship of the Norwegian one we talked about that like made it half a mile and then sank in the middle of the harbor?
No, but I think this one, I don't know if by the way, I've taken two sources and I kind of stitched them together of like the beginning part is from one source because I liked it more, and then the second half is from Wikipedia. The first part is from the National Museum of Australia. So, but I don't know if they get into this, but the Batavia does have a rough putting into the ocean. Like they start off rough.
Oh, they start off tough. Yeah. Okay.
But let's start off with the article. So the VOC in the Batavia, the Dutch East India Company, or this is some Dutch bullshit, by the way, Verenigde Oost-Indische Company, the VOC. We're just going to be calling it the VOC or the Dutch India
I like that you're
East
like,
India Company.
This foreign language is complete bullshit. Here, let me try it.
I'm going to message you just so you can see this
I
bullshit.
believe you. Oh, yeah. It looks like a different language.
Too many consonants, too many vowels, too much everything.
Wow, this is a Strong's take. Is Segment City anti-Dutch? Are we coming out?
Yes.
Are we saying that? Wow.
Okay.
Strong.
I
back
will
you
say
100% as a co-host, but
historically, I'm against the Dutch.
All right.
Now, I will. This is author's note or editor's note. I should say the Dutch East India Company is different from the British East India Company because one was banned by the Dutch, one was by the British. The Dutch one came first. And I think the Dutch might be the worst colonizers of any.
They went out and scoured the globe and came back. And were like, well, we didn't do much.
No, they did it for nutmeg, like in spices. We'll get into this, but the VOC was the greatest trade organization of the age. Throughout much of the 17th and 18th centuries, it dominated the Indian Ocean spice trade. The spice must flow, Theo.
It must flow. I agreed. I agree with you, Baron. I don't have much to add.
And apparently nutmeg only existed on like one island or like a few islands, like in the Indies. Like it was insane. Especially around the
stupid bit about Baron
nutmeg?
Harkonnen in a Zoom call. And like, good point, Baron. I'd really like to circle back to your point about the spice flowing. I think we should probably touch base about this with the other stakeholders and just make sure that they agree that the spice must indeed flow. But anyways, on from Baron Harkonnen, the Zoom call is a stupid bit. Continue.
Oh, Baron? Yes, you seem to have raised your hand. Oh, what's the emojis rising? Sorry, Baron. I am getting all mixed up.
It's rising. The balloons on your Zoom are rising much like I do to the ceiling.
Can anyone else hear her? Is her mic on?
This is stupid.
Tell her that she's... This is very bad. Okay, anyway. So the VOC dominated the Indian Ocean spice trade, especially around the Dutch East Indies, now Indonesia. Though those with shares in the VOC became immensely rich, while for ambitious young men, the voyage to Batavia, now Jakarta, offered an opportunity to make a fortune. The success and attitude of the VOC reflected the Dutch proverb, quote, Jesus Christ is good, but trade is better.
Wow.
Which is hell of a Catholic.
Big.
You know what? That could actually be America's new slogan because that is like so on the nose. However, the perilous voyage from the Netherlands to Batavia took as long as 8 months. Those who survived scurvy and poor food and water then had to face tropical diseases such as malaria once they arrived in the East Indies. The likelihood of dying of such diseases before the end of your first year was 1 in 4. You had a 25% chance of fucking dying.
I'm not getting on that boat. Sorry, buddy. I'm not rolling the dice there.
It should be noted that it was a desperate last Hail Mary for people. Like this was last stop on people's careers. Like this is not a place that you want to go.
No.
Launched in 1628, the 150-foot Batavia was the pride of the VOC fleet. Laden with silver, she set sail on her maiden voyage from the Dutch port of Texel on 28th of October that year as the flagship of a fleet of 8 VOC vessels. In keeping with VOC practice, the Batavia had 2 commanders, a senior merchant, or a commodore, who had overall command of the fleet, and a skipper, responsible for the ship itself. He was the actual captain. So basically the order of this, imagine if your regional manager was on the ship with you. He does not know how to sail the ship. He's literally a businessman.
Okay, great.
And then there's another guy who is in the words of this, the skipper, but he's really the captain that is responsible for running the ship. On the Batavia, these men were Francisco Pelsart and Ariane Jacobs, respectively. There's going to be a lot of Dutch names. I'm going to try to keep these. There's really only 3 people or 4 people that like come up, and I'm only going to be calling them by their last name. Okay. So hopefully they'll be able to. The spelling of it is way harsher than the actual sounding of it. Problems inherent in a dual command structure were in this case exacerbated by the fact that Jacobs and Pelsart already hated each other due to a dispute in India 2 years previously. They are holding on to these fucking grudges.
Now that's just good hiring.
About 330 people.
You want to get both of your main employees on the boat and make it sure that when you're hiring it, just ask them, do you fucking hate the other guy's guts? And if so, those are your guys. Don't look any farther.
Hello everybody, this is your captain speaking. I'm Biggie Smalls, and my co-pilot is Tupac Shakur. Hopefully nothing bad happens.
Just remember, he's a lying rat. All right, have a great settle in and don't hesitate to ask.
Give me that. There were about 330 people aboard the Batavia, among them 180 sailors, about 100 mercenaries, which I've heard a lot of people, when they describe the story, call them soldiers, but mercenaries is a better descriptor, because these were rough around the edges, like they were literally stored in a hold that was just before the treasure. Like, they're on the bottom of the ship, there's like all the treasure chests and stuff, and then you would have to go through all the soldiers in order to get to it. It was a design, it wasn't a design flaw, it was like how they built it out. But because of the way that they just put the soldiers into like a windowless room, basically. So they were going fucking nuts.
Crazy.
But they also had a number of relatively wealthy passengers, including the 27-year-old Lucretia Van Dyne Mylan, who was joining her husband in Batavia. Also on board was Pelsart's deputy Hieronymus Cornelius, a former apothecary who had joined the VOC and signed up for the voyage to avoid being persecuted for his adherence to the heretical values of the painter Terentius. That doesn't really matter. You could go into I've heard some things go into how that his religion kind of affects some of the things he does, because Hieronymus Cornelius is the villain of our story.
Okay, all right. Always Cornelius, good to start off with an apothecary who's running from the law. That's not shady. Certainly not.
It's not bad. But he was also a very bad apothecary. Cornelius befriended Jacobs, and together the two men began plotting a mutiny and recruiting accomplices, presumably tempted by the Batavia's valuable cargo. Their plan became more feasible when the Batavia separated from the rest of the fleet during a storm off the Cape of Good Hope. Over the course of a few weeks, they worked on fermenting discontent among the crew, but disaster struck before they could carry out the mutiny.
I thought you were going to say fermenting toilet wine, because they were bored as shit.
They were bored as shit. They say that Captain Jacobs, this is not in the article, he was feuding mostly because he kept on going on the other ships, in the fleet, and being like, hey, so where's the welcome wagon? And by that, I mean, where's the wine? He would go and get the shit hammered. Yeah, and he's like, I fucking hate you, dude. And also there's an entire little something of the merchant guy who was supposed to be in charge of it. He, Pelsart, he got sick, and so they held off the mutiny for a while, because they're like, he might just fucking die. We could just have the ship for free, basically. We don't have to do the mutiny. But then he got better, and it was like, I know you guys are being fuckers. Hey. So now we get to the Wikipedia part of this, which is the shipwreck. The shipwreck location near the Western Australian coast, survivors being transferred from the wrecked Batavia to nearby islands in the ship's boats. Batavia's graveyard, now known as Beacon Island in the Wallaby Group, Alabros Islands. On June 1629, the Batavia struck Morning Reef near Beacon Island, part of the Houston Obers off the western coast of Australia. Of the 322 aboard, most of the passengers and crew managed to get ashore, although 40 people drowned. The survivors, including all of the women and children, were then transferred to nearby islands in the ship's longboats and yawl. A weird fact about this: only 1 in 7 sailors could actually swim in those days.
Yeah, well, you said it was sort of a last resort, so it was all right, I guess I'll just hope that we don't... I mean, also, back in those days, if you were doing a transatlantic crossing, if you fell off your boat, you're fucked anyways.
That was the main. But they had a weird superstition where it was like the ocean can get a taste for you, and once it gets one taste, then it'll like. They thought if you swim in the ocean, the ocean will be like nom nom nom. Ooh, tasty! Like what?
Any
What a flavor to savor.
Ooh, hope the ocean doesn't like my taste.
Little me. Ooh. But that is like because some people just jumped off the boat and were like, or like jumped in the coral and just got skewered.
Skewered. Yeah.
You're just dead. An initial survey of the islands found no fresh water and only limited food, sea lions and birds. Pelsart, realizing the dire situation, decided to search for water on the mainland. A group consisting of Jacobs, Pelsart, senior officers, and a few crew members and some passengers left the wreck site in a 9-meter or 30 feet longboat in search of drinking water. So he literally just goes, "Hey, I'm the captain. I'm the guy in charge. Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye. I'm about to go look for water. Right. See ya. I'm leaving you on this deserted island." And he's taking Pelsart or Jacobs with him, who's the actual captain of the boat. So the upper merchant and the captain of the boat are fucking leaving. So it's just a bunch of people now on this island that is the size of a football field and is apparently flat. So they eventually the boat tried to search for water on the mainland, but they left the other survivors and headed north to the danger-fraught voyage to the city of Batavia, Dutch East Indies, the ship's namesake, to seek rescue. En route, they tried to make other forays for fresh water, but this is the last we're going to hear about these guys for a little bit. Like we're
leaving these guys behind. All right.
So now we get to the part called the murders. And you know how that's going to go.
Oh, no.
Not well.
Oh, no.
The section called murders.
We were doing so well, guys. Remember how you hated each other?
Now, this is one of the weirdest parts to me, because I don't think I would make the same decision he does. Cornelius, who's the bad guy, was one of the few men who stayed on the Batavia as it was fucking sinking to pillage and steal. He was one of the few who survived the final breakup of the ship and made it to Beacon Island after floating for 2 days. So there was a group of, I forget how many that they said, literally they were getting in like money fights with each other on this boat that was actively sinking.
They were fighting over money when there was no water and the boat was sinking?
No, they were like, ha ha ha, like literally throwing money at each other.
I see. Okay.
They were having a great time. But it was, I think, based on delusion. I think like, because if a cruise ship crashed somewhere and there wasn't like staff being like, hey, everybody get off the boat, I think there would be a lot of people, even if they were told like, hey, the ship is sinking, that would be like, I'm going to stay in my room, actually. Like, I think there was like some of that into this. So people were being just delusional. And then once the ship actually sunk, they were just like, yeah, then they died. Like, most of them died. Though neither sailor nor soldier, Cornelius was elected to be in charge of the survivors due to his senior rank in the Dutch East India Company. He basically got what a lot of like people who go to college and then go into the military get, where you like immediately
promoted,
moved up. Yeah. Though he made plans to hijack any rescue ship that might return and use the vessel to seek another safe haven. So
wow, pretty blatant there, buddy.
Yeah, Cornelius made far-fetched plans to start a new kingdom using gold and silver from the wreck. However, to carry out this plan, he first needed to eliminate possible opponents. Because Cornelius is an apothecary through and through. He is a little whiny baby boy who, in this entire story, I don't think he actually kills anyone himself. He just commands everybody else to do it for him.
Right.
So he's especially a baby. Cornelius' first deliberate act was to have all weapons and food supplies commandeered and placed under his control. He then moved a group of soldiers, led by Y.B. Hayes, to nearby West Wallaby Island, located roughly 5.4 miles to the northwest.
What? I can't take any of these names seriously. West Wallaby Island? So good.
Yeah, that's modern Australians doing this, because Australia at this point was not discovered. Like, hasn't been explored. It was like a big blob on their maps.
West Wallaby Island.
Under the pretense of having them search for water. They were told to send smoke signals when they found water, and then they would be rescued. Convinced that they would be unsuccessful, he then left them there to die, taking complete control of the remaining survivors.
Oh my god, this guy's he's a jackass.
Oh yeah, because he sent the soldiers that he sent, led by Hayes, were these were as good guys you're going to get in the story. Like, they were soldiers that were more for the company. Like, they were more resolute than the other passengers and stuff. Cornelius never committed any of the murders himself, although he tried and failed to poison a baby.
What?
You
Tried to
he was
poison
a bad apothecary. He was really bad at it.
Man can't even poison a baby. And babies are famous for trying to kill themselves all the time.
Spoilers, he fails at poisoning himself later on this story. Instead, he coerced others into doing it for him, usually under the pretense that the victim had committed a crime, such as theft. Cornelius' henchmen had originally murdered to save themselves, but eventually began to kill for pleasure and out of habit. Jesus. Cornelius planned... So yeah, they started turning into like full pirates, like just killing everybody.
Crazy.
Cornelius planned to reduce the island's population to around 45 so that their supplies would last long enough as possible. Note that they started with over 300 people. Who started the ship. Like, crazy. Some of the people have gone on the ship to like go to the actual city of Batavia. Some people, like some of the soldiers, but most of the people who are on this island are defenseless passengers.
Crazy.
He also feared that many of the survivors would remain loyal to the company. In total, Cornelius' followers murdered at least 110 men, women, and children. A small number of women were kept as sex slaves. Ugh. Among them was Jans, who Cornelius reserved for himself, which is the woman that... the article didn't get to it. She was basically like a precursor to the mutiny because they like tar and feathered her. Like it was a weird... She's apparently like the most beautiful woman on the ship, and she was like going to meet her husband in Batavia. Ooh. Rescue. Now we're at the part where it's going to take a turn. Although Cornelius had left the soldiers, led by Hayes, to die, they had in fact found good sources of water and food on West Wallaby Island.
Full of just wallabies that were waiting to be eaten.
Literally, because they were like, it was a dodo situation where they'd walk onto these islands where no human had ever set foot, and the animals were like, "Hi, how are you?" And they're like, "Delicious little kangaroo, yum yum yum." Like, so initially they were unaware of the massacres taking place and sent prearranged smoke signals announcing their finds. So they're like, "Hey, we found the water," here. And then the ships didn't come. Like, so they're like, "Oh, that's odd." However, they soon learned of the killings from survivors fleeing Beacon Island. In response, the soldiers devised makeshift weapons from materials washed up from the wreck. They also set a watch so that they were ready for Cornelius' men and built a small fort out of limestone and coral blocks. So these guys are fucking doing a Minecraft. They're like,
you know what those people are? They're well fed because they would not have the energy to move any limestones unless they were well fed.
They do have, in modern times, they've actually found the shipwreck of the Batavia, and it's now like an exhibit somewhere, like at a small weird museum. And I think they also, I saw a picture of, I think they're like what remains of their little fort, which is really cool. Like it's down to the remnants, like but it's still like, oh yeah, I could see how they did this, like, but it's impressive. Cornelius seized on the news of the water on the other island as his own supply was dwindling, and the continued survival of the soldiers threatened his own success. He was fearful that any rescue vessel might side the soldiers first, therefore dispatching his men to eliminate this threat. But the trained soldiers were by now better fed than Cornelius' group, and easily defeated them in several battles, even though they had fucking flintlocks. Although, like, in later battles, they can... actually, we'll get... It's literally next line. Seeking to bring Hayes under his command, he traveled to the island himself, which was a bad fucking move.
Bad move.
Whereby Hayes and his soldiers took Cornelius hostage.
Of course.
The men who escaped regrouped under soldier Walter Luce and tried again. This time employing muskets to besiege Hayes' fort and almost defeating the soldiers. However, Hayes' men prevailed against just as the rescue vessel arrived.
So the rescue vessel is like pulling up as they're having a gunfight?
They're having a battle. Like literally, and they're like, "Huh? What's going on there, guys?" And so now we're gonna go back real quick to describe what was going on with the other guys. So Please. It wasn't not long until the longboat reached the island of Nusa Kambangi in the Dutch East Indies that Pelser and the others found more water. The journey took 33 days with everyone surviving. After their arrival in Batavia, the boatswain, Jan Everest, was arrested and executed for negligence and outrageous behavior before the loss of the ship. he was suspected to be involved with the mutiny, basically.
Okay.
Because there was this boatswain, from my knowledge, is basically like like he kind of controls the sailors in a way. Like he's one of the more senior sailor guys. So like they surmised he had to be in on it because there were certain people that like they knew was in on the mutiny. That is like, okay, so he must also be in on this. Jacobs was also arrested for negligence, though his culpability in the potential mutiny was not guessed by Pelsart. Although that's I feel like that's a little. I think he brought Pelsart brought Jacobs because he's like, okay, I'm gonna go and arrest you. Like I'm basically taking the leader from the mutiny, and like we're gonna go like with my men basically. Governor General Jan Parzoon Cohen immediately gave Pelsart command of the Tsardom to rescue the other survivors, as well as to attempt to salvage the riches of the Batavia's wreck, which really was their bigger thing that they wanted.
Right, yeah.
Within a month, Pelsart reached the general area where the shipwreck had occurred, but it took another month of searching to locate the islands again. He finally arrived at the site, only to discover that a bloody massacre had taken place among the survivors, reducing their number to at least 100. A race to the rescue ship ensued between Cornelius' men and the soldiers.
My God.
Hayes, who is the soldier, reached the ship first and was able to present his side of the story to Pelsart. After a short battle, the combined forces captured all of Cornelius' mutinous group.
Good. Huzzah.
Yes, finally there's some justice. Because this is like... But let's get into the aftermath. Pelsart decided to conduct a trial on the islands because Tsardom on the return voyage to Batavia would have been overcrowded with both survivors and prisoners. After a brief
so
trial,
he was like,
offenders...
one of y'all is going to stay.
Yeah, imagine, it was so fucking brutal back then because it's not like you're getting a fair trial
Crazy,
on that fucking island. You're like, even if you were like, hey, I'm a good guy, like I was just like coerced by them, you're probably still gonna fucking die. After a brief trial, the worst offenders were taken to Seal Island and executed. Cornelius and several of his henchmen had both hands chopped off before being hanged.
Oof, Jesus
That's
Christ.
rough. Yeah,
that's brutal.
Before. Luce and a cabin boy, John Pelgrim Dubai, who were considered only minor offenders, were marooned on mainland Australia and were never heard of again.
I mean,
literally, they were like, "Bye!" Like the thing you joke about, like
Australia,
you guys gotta stay.
Still, yeah.
But it was undiscovered country, so they could be having a great time, and then they died,
right?
Or they died like 5 minutes after they got dropped off.
They got bit by a poisonous snake and were dead almost immediately.
Yeah, I mean, it could happen, but. This made them the first Europeans to have permanently lived on the Australian continent, which is a fun fact. This location is now thought to be Waitakere Creek near Calgary, Western Australia, though another suggestion is nearby Port Gregory. The rest of Cornelius' henchmen were taken to Batavia for trial. 5 were hanged, while several others were flogged, keyhauled, or dropped from the yardom on the latter voyage back home. Keel-hauling, I think, is like literally your like water. Like they put you over the side of the boat and you get dragged along.
Jeez,
that's what it fucking is.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Most of these punishments you didn't survive, or like they sometimes tried to make you survive. It was like, oh, you're going to do work for us. You know, like they don't want to kill their workers necessarily, but like some of the time it was like, yeah, we do want to kill you.
It's like an Olympics for figure out how brutally you can murder someone. It's crazy. It's gross.
It's very gross. Cornelius' second in command, Jacob Picers, was broken on the wheel, the most severe punishment available at the time. Jacobs, despite being tortured, did not confess to his part in plotting the mutiny and escaped execution due to lack of evidence. What finally became of him is unknown. He might have died in prison in Batavia. A board of inquiry decided that Pelsart had exercised a lack of authority and was therefore partly responsible for what had happened. His financial assets were seized, and he died within a year of disease. So this is the aftermath where nobody gets off good, though.
Yeah.
This is the time period, man. His journal on the matter would be published in 1647 and widely read, spreading knowledge of the dangers of the western coast of Australia. Hayes was hailed as a hero and promoted to sergeant, which increased his salary, while those who had been under his command were also promoted to rank of corporal. Of the original 332 people on board of Batavia, only 122 made it to the port of Batavia. Stardom eventually sailed home with most of the treasures previously carried on Batavia. I think they recovered like everything but 2 treasure chests, I think I heard.
Wow.
But
them.
also a fucked up part of the time is they tried to do one last, like, because they would get they would have divers that I think would go in diving bells, you know, those like old time where and they went and they got all the treasure out. And one of the last things that I heard that they did was like they tried to do one more thing to get a cask of vinegar out, and it was like a boat of 5 guys, and then a storm sailed in. 5 guys were gone.
Oof.
Like
over vinegar?
Fucking sea.
Over vinegar?
Yeah, over vinegar. Exactly. It's like, oh fuck you. But that was the time like human lives were not seen as valuable.
Oh my God.
The Stardom with all the treasure of the 12 treasure chests that were originally on board, 10 were recovered and taken aboard the Stardom. And that is where we will leave our. Oh, actually, I'm going to leave on an extra sad note. The lady that was the first lady assaulted and was like the most beautiful lady on the ship. She was going to meet her husband in Batavia. Turns out he died the year before.
Of course he did. Old times. Guess he's died.
Guess he fucking died. Sorry, 1 in 4 people did. Whoopsies.
I would never get on a boat like that. An old-timey boat is not a gamble you want to take. That's crazy.
Terrible. But the Batavia, this is a fascinating story to me. I heard it 2 different variations. One I heard was like more in the vein of what I like how I ordered it, of being a little bit more of a surprise. Another one kind of laid everything out immediately. It was like, yep, they get saved. It's like, this is why we know about it. But it's a not well-known story compared to other shipwreck stories. And I think it's because it's so fucking nasty, and it gets to like the nasty parts of the human nature, which I think is interesting.
Yeah,
like
they pretty quickly devolved into just like pure animalistic anarchy, killing each other.
They were already like rough around the edges guys that were already being mutinous, but like they went hard. Like they immediately, like within a month, because from the time that they got shipwrecked to the time they got Batavia, I think it was like 6 months. Like it was a long time, yet they immediately devolved into it.
Wow.
But that is the shipwreck of the Batavia, and hopefully your next segment is going to be good.
Well, from hearing about old explorers mastering and conquering the earth to some of maybe the dumbest people on the planet, we're going to go over to failery.com, which is going to tell us about the 15 worst Shark Tank pitches ever. 'Cause maybe we got to know about them.
We got to know about them. Let's get some Shark Tank pitches.
Shark Tank. Everybody knows about Shark Tank. Come pitch us your ideas. Sharks, I want 10%. I want $1 million for 10% stake in my company. It's poop ice cream. Yeah, it's ice cream, but it's poop.
Listen, I wish it was steak ice cream. I'll give you.
But that already existed, so I had to go with poop.
I'll give you $5 million for 25% of the company. What do you think?
What do you think? All right, we're going to work backwards from this list. So starting at 15 and going up to number 1. Okay. So this is just their compilation. So here we go. So the first one is called the no-fly cone. What is the no-fly cone, you might ask? No-fly. What was it?
Sensory depriving thing when you're on an airplane?
See, that's what you would think. And I read it first and I was like, oh, like it's privacy on an airplane, like maybe a cone you put over your head, and like,
yeah, that's what it sounds like.
Maybe it's like on this list because it looks stupid, and but no, that's not what this is. It is a non-toxic cone-shaped fly trap that catches flies on the inside, designed to be placed over dog poop.
Wow! What is the use case of this?
You want to catch some flies? I need to keep this
fresh.
Listen,
okay.
2 birds with 1 stone. Your dog's pooping all over your house, and you got flies all over your house, and you don't feel like cleaning up your dog's poop. So what do? Just put a little cone on it, boop, and then the flies get trapped up.
Hi, Mark Cuban here. What's stopping them from literally just getting paper and doing this themselves?
Yeah, what's wrong with any of the other ways you could deal with this?
So we didn't think about that.
The ask was $25,000 for a 15% stake, which is a net valuation of $166,000 for this idea. So they say the last and worst Shark Tank pitches on our list was certainly a wild one. Remember, we're working backwards from the list.
Yeah. It
started out with a cowboy hat-wearing entrepreneur pitching his idea for a fly trap that could be placed over a dog's feces to catch flies it attracted. Then, partway through, Seth MacFarlane, creator of Family Guy, made an appearance. Why?
What?
He took horse riding lessons from the No Fly Cones creator and wanted to help his friend pitch the product.
Oh my God. I thought
On
Seth
Shark Tank,
MacFarlane-
you imagine Seth MacFarlane popping in for
A cameo.
endorsing
poop
via
thing.
cam, and he's like, "Yep, this is the one. It's got dog shit, and I'll put my name on it."
I guess out of all the celebrities, he would be more likely, but it's so, I don't know. I think Seth MacFarlane's kind of a smart guy. This is him doing a favor to a friend that's now televised. And I don't know if
that
it
was
looks
like
good.
a dude who taught him horseback riding lessons. Like,
Yeah, that's
seems-
also rich person bullshit. Like,
I can't imagine that ask. Like, you realize that one day
Yeah,
a
just-
celebrity is showing up to partake in the services that you offer, and you're like, I know what I'll do. I'll pitch him my business idea, and I'll give him a live demo with all this horse shit that's all over the place.
well, now that we're going in the elevator down to the stables, let's talk about my product.
This is my real passion. Horses are just my hobby. Dog shit is my real
My
passion.
passion flies, catching flies. Ugh.
Despite this strange turn of events, the Sharks kept their composure and continued questioning No Fly Cone's inventor about the product. However, they ultimately didn't want to invest in a product that required dog excrement to function.
No,
There you go.
poopy.
Number 14 is called the Sullivan Generator. What is the Sullivan Generator, you might ask?
It's my generator, Mr. Dave Sullivan, and it works. You wouldn't understand. It's based on magnets, and I got a raccoon. I caught a raccoon, and it works with the magnets.
It's a little like that. So what is the Sullivan Generator? An electric generator alleged to create electricity by processing salt water, turning it into vapor that would drive the generator's turbines, leaving behind precious metals such as gold. Oh yeah, Sharks, come on
didn't
down.
think
It's a feeding
We're
frenzy
generating
down
gold.
We're
We're
generating-
I
It's
have
a
the
power-
philosopher's stones. I'm ready to make some gold.
It's a power generator that also does alchemy, you see. Just Sharks. I love that he was like, well, this is all
Ridiculous.
bullshit, but maybe if I throw in gold, they'll be intrigued.
He's doing moisture farming from fucking Star Wars, like,
Or from
getting gold
Dune.
out of the air.
Yeah.
yeah. What, spice must
His
flow.
ask was $1 million for 10% equity, so $10 million valuation. The Sullivan Generator's creator, Mark Sullivan, claimed to have already made over 1,000 inventions that were making over $1 billion a year. He used a drawing and a lot of bold pseudoscientific claims to try and convince the Sharks of his invention's validity, and for a moment it seemed to work, as Damon John and Robert Herjavec both initially made him offers. Mark Cuban, however, made it clear his BS meter was going through the roof, and he thought that the generator's inventor was a con man, even asking Herjavec at one point, "How could you be so stupid?" Cuban clearly wasn't buying Sullivan's snake oil salesman tactics, and along with Kevin O'Leary, was able to convince the other investors that it wasn't a legitimate investment opportunity. That would have been
course
hilarious. It would have been hilarious, though, if some guy was like, yeah, I've got this snake oil, and I'm just going to go on Shark Tank, and they're going to
On
eat it
Shark
up.
Tank. And hey, I have products that make me $1 billion, but I need investment.
Yeah,
Please.
if you have making $1 billion a year, why do you need $1 million? That's
Yeah,
one
it's
thousandth of what you make every year.
Snake oil.
Snake oil. Thank you for the Sullivan Generator. Gold, free gold, Sharks.
Making some gold.
The next one, iBlock. It's a rubber webcam cover designed to prevent spying, which I actually don't
Okay.
think in theory is a bad idea. So maybe there's something else about the pitch.
I have webcam covers, but I don't think they would be like highly valued. You buy them for like what, $5 on Amazon?
Yeah, this was
like
a $50,000 for exchange for 10% equity, so $500,000 valuation. CJ Izakow came on Shark Tank looking to secure an investment for his webcam privacy shield, emphasizing the dangers of Americans being spied in their homes by hackers via their devices' built-in webcams. Although Robert Hervajek agreed with him that this was a serious issue, he did not think that Isakow's invention was the solution consumers were looking for. The rest of the Sharks just couldn't see the value in investing in a small piece of rubber, or a little piece of crap, as Kevin O'Leary put it, that essentially served the same function as a sticky note or other readily available desktop supply. I agree with him on that, where for a long time I just kept a sticky note over it, and it does the same job. Like,
yeah.
You don't need a
Functionally,
little
it's the same.
specialized piece of plastic.
Yeah.
All right, the next one is called Track Days. You got to buy some Track Days. So what was Track Days? Track Days was a full-length action film revolving around a motorcycle world championship. Gotta go on Shark Tank. Get that funding, baby.
Fuck?
Track
Do
Days.
I'm sorry, do they do movie pitches on Shark Tank? I didn't even know they did that.
I thought they would have screened for this, but apparently not.
That's like, okay, I have some concept art here. What do you think about the aesthetic value? Like, get rolled here. Like, what?
This was a $5 million offer for 34% stake, so $15 million valuation. This comically bad Shark Tank pitch aimed to secure money to produce a motorcycle racing movie and resulted in the quickest I'm out ever from Mark Cuban, who didn't want anything to do with the project as soon as he heard the entrepreneurs say it was an action film. Cuban's fast exit didn't deter the film's creator from handing out popcorn to the investors and playing them a trailer for their non-existent movie, which looked like it was a Windows screensaver with nothing more than some 3D text and computer graphic effects. The Sharks proceeded to tear it apart, highlighting the fact that there was nothing of substance in it. I think they fundamentally misunderstood what Shark Tank is. It's also kind of hilarious because they show a little clip from it, and you know how usually Shark Tank, they bring on like an array of products or like a slideshow that they're doing.
Yeah.
In this one, all they did, they brought out a man in a racing motorcycle suit, just sitting silently on a motorcycle next to a poster of this movie that does not exist yet. That was their pitch. That was their whole pitch deck, was just a man on a motorcycle.
There are times that I worry that you and I are not bold enough in our lives. And this only exacerbates
We could be bolder. We could be bolder.
We could be living on a dream, Theo. This is living on a dream. Like,
we have dumb
confidence. The confidence, Theo. Could you imagine?
We have bad ideas that are better than this idea.
Yes. They're walking. They're like, okay, we're gonna get Tony. He's gonna wear the fucking motorcycle suit. That'll be enough to get him.
That'd be sick.
He's the main actor.
This is the last one I'll do for now because we're running out of time, and it's called His and Hers. What is His and Hers? It's an aphrodisiac snack bar full of ingredients alleged to get couples in the mood for intimate time. The ask was $50,000 in exchange for 10% equity, $500,000 evaluation. Jennifer and Michael Gallagher, the couple behind His and Hers bars, started off their pitch with a catchy jingle, drawing some laughs and applause from the sharks, even before giving each shark their own aphrodisiac snack bar to try.
What?
Just give it all the sharks. Be like, hey, sharks, we know you need to get horned up for this one.
I was about to say, turns into a Shark Tank orgy, turns into a feeding frenzy.
It really works. As the sharks sampled the bars, the founders explained some of the ingredients before going into their personal inspiration behind their bars. Yeah, so we really weren't feeling it. And I was eating a granola bar, and she said to me, what if that granola bar could just, really do it for you? What if you loved it?
Pants over to Mark Cuban. He's like hard as the kids. He's like, it works. It really works. Like,
the sharks weren't too interested in their long-winded stories and cut in to ask about sales, quickly learning that the couple had only sold 500 bars to the tune of $2,000. The sharks kept questioning the founders about their business model and decisions, pushing Michael to tears and resulting in the telling of another teary-eyed story. The investors saw through the couple's sob stories and determined that there was no real investment potential for their product.
Yep. Makes sense. That's a dumb product.
This is a hard slap of reality for some folks, I think. It's just, your idea is not as good as you think. Maybe this isn't the one for you.
But going on Shark Tank, and that's your best pitch? What if you have some fuck bars that you can eat before you have sex? Like,
what if you had some fuck bars?
We've had better our worst ideas are so much better than these. I swear, I'm sick of life. I'm sick of everybody. Get me out of this world.
Get me out of this. And get me out of this segment because it's time to end the podcast.
Yeah, get me out of this podcast. Thank you, everybody, for listening to this episode of Segment City. Remember, if you have any segments that you want to send to us, send it to segmentcitypodcast@gmail.com. Hit up our YouTube, Segment City, for full episodes. Hit up my YouTube, Golly G. Willikers on YouTube. That I just put out a most kissable cryptid tier list that people in my life have told me that they enjoyed. So that's nice. So hopefully you will also enjoy it, and don't forget to like and subscribe to that, and give us some star ratings and star reviews on your podcast network of choice: iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, etc., etc. We love to see them. That gives us an indication of how well we're doing, and we just like also seeing that people enjoy the podcast. But you know who loves every single episode of our podcast? A special guest, or not a special guest, somebody we got to give a special thank you to.
That special thank you is out to Rachel Robinson. She does our intro music, and she has amazing music that you can find on your streaming platform of choice. And some say she's got a Shark Tank idea. Sharks, have you ever wanted to do yoga, but you're so gassy? You're gassy all the time.
Oh.
Well, introducing, it's the new deodorizing yoga mat. It absorbs those farts, sucks them right out of the air.
What is this?
So you gotta let it rip and do some yoga. That's Rachel Robinson's idea. Some say, so allegedly.
I lost focus for like literally 1 second, and my focus came back, and I went, "What the fuck is he talking about right now?
That's
is
just
this
Rachel
still about
Robinson's
Rachel?
idea. I didn't say that.
It's don't because this implies that this was a problem in her life. Like she was the person holding a bunch of lemons. Like, does this keep happening to you? You keep farting on your mat. Like I bet she loves that. It's something associated with her.
That's the best idea I've ever heard. Good idea, Rachel.
Hey, here's the curse transition. Speaking of farting a lot, let's go to iwaspoisoned.com for the last segment of the episode where we read a food poisoning from Gordon Ramsay's Hell's Kitchen in Las Vegas, Nevada. Gordon Ramsay, what are you doing?
What are you doing? Giving people food poisoning? It's raw.
This raw. I was the only one at our table to get the chicken Caesar salad, and within 2 bites, I knew something was wrong. Within 30 minutes, I started to have
one look at the salad from across the bar, and I knew it was trouble.
He has a picture of the salad. It's not that good looking of a salad. I'm gonna be honest. It just kind of leaves croutons and then like kind of red looking chicken. Like it's a little pink looking. That's probably what it went wrong.
Not good.
Within 30 minutes, I started to have instant diarrhea and cramping. I left dinner early, and the batch party I was best man at the night was just about to start. So we're getting lore.
No,
So
Gordon, you robbed this beautiful man of a nice friendship moment.
the first stop in Las Vegas, and he immediately gets instant diarrhea. That's
Poor
bad. I literally could not even walk straight. My body was so dizzy.
Oh,
Spent the whole night puking and peeing out.
Oh, no.
So let me just start that. Spent the whole night puking and peeing out my butt from this.
I hate to tell you that you neither puke nor pee out of your butt. None of those. That's not how either of those work.
You wanted to use both descriptors. He needed to tell us how liquid it was. He needed to. Now, 4 days later, after being in the ER on day 2 when I got back home from leaving the whole trip early because of this, I have missed multiple days of work. This is a long one, by the way. And my symptoms are staying the same. Insane to get this sick from a place like this. I don't know. I'll never eat at Hell's Kitchen again. I can maybe make better food at home and it won't put me in the hospital.
I love that he's like, if I wanted to go to the hospital, I would have stayed home.
Gordon Ramsay, I'm gonna challenge Bobby Flay, but it's not challenging Bobby Flay. I'm challenging Gordon Ramsay. I can make a better Caesar salad that won't make me sick at home.
Truly, it was raw.
It was raw.